guys are ridiculous. These guys are ridiculous.
Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording on Wednesday, November 22nd. We are recording the bulk of this episode before the Celtics game against the Bucks, which is going to happen tonight.
I sure hope they win.
Would be nice.
If they lose, nobody watches our stuff.
Yeah, it would be nice. Editing Jack here. This might be the fastest I've ever had to jump into an episode, but we're morons and forgot to say Happy Thanksgiving because we forgot this was dropping on Thanksgiving. We talked about it about 9 minutes into the show or so, but yeah, we're just dumb. So happy Thanksgiving to all of you who listen to the show. We appreciate you, and we're very thankful that you listen to us talk about the Celtics, especially when we're dumb enough to forget that this episode is dropping on Thanksgiving. So just wanted to pop in here and say that as editing Jack. Happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the show. But before we start, a couple of housekeeping things. One, I'm going to say it at the start of the episode again. Please leave us a review on Apple. We would greatly appreciate it. This is the agenda I've been pushing for the past couple weeks, and I'm going to continue to push it until we get more. It helps us on the audio platform. So if you do listen on audio, leave us a review on Apple. And if you don't listen on audio, just go to Apple anyways.
No longer asking.
Very nice. Be very nice. We'd appreciate it. Also, for our loyal viewers and listeners, etc., you know we post daily videos on YouTube. We're going to potentially expand upon that. Might be posting 2 a day. So if you see the first video of the day, don't assume that's all you're getting that day, is all I'm saying. So keep an eye on the channel. You might get some double uploads here and there. We're looking to push. We're looking to add a little bit more content. So for RJ, Joey Spatula's Land, and anybody who regularly watches and comments, if you see one video, don't think that's all you're getting that day. Go back to the channel. You might see a second one pop up. Just keep an eye out, Joe. Just as a heads up so you don't miss potential uploads. We double uploaded yesterday as you're listening to this, so go check them both out if you haven't yet. But let's do our Incognito winner at the start of the episode too. Get the rest of the housekeeping out of the way. I'll throw it on the screen for the YouTube listeners. And let's spin that wheel. We had 8 entries today, and let's see who is walking away with an Incognito gift card.
Who's gonna be the winner?
Oh, Dakota Wilkins. Shout out Dakota. Joey Spatula is gonna watch this and see just how
that's a heartbreaking defeat for Joey Spatulas. Like that's whip your phone.
But Dakota, we will respond to your comment on YouTube, and we will make sure we get you connected with an Incognito gift card. So keep an eye out on that. We'll shoot you an email once you give us your email, and we'll get you set up. But thank you all for entering, and make sure to comment what's popping on this podcast right here for a chance to win on the next episode. Just throw what's popping in your comment anyways. If you're going to comment, might as well throw what's popping in there, get a chance to win some popcorn, right? Come on. What are we doing? But without further ado, I guess, yeah, we're going to throw it over to our future selves. I was ready to go into the first topic, but we have a Bucks game to talk about. So we'll throw it over to future Jack and Sam to break that one down. All right. Thank you to our past selves for throwing it over to me and Sam for, luckily, a positive post-game review. Let's get into it. Yay. No sadness today.
First point. Funniest 3 quarters of basketball I've ever seen.
How so?
You got all the white guys were going nuts, dude. Hauser was doing alley-oops. Pritchard was cooking Dame. He had a step back on Dame. Porzingis was dunking all over the place. He dunked over Brook Lopez so hard. Him and Jaylen Brown had the craziest back and forth alley-oop I've ever seen. They were literally just fucking around with Milwaukee for 3 quarters, and Tatum really didn't even have to do anything. He was just out there. He looked sick, and it didn't matter. You know how mad I'd be if I was getting cooked by all the white guys? I was explaining to Kaylin how funny it is to watch like Peyton Pritchard, Sam Hauser, and Porzingis all score in double digits and like actually look like it's not fluky doing it. And it's hysterical. Derek White was excellent. He came out and made impact right away. Al Horford had the game of the year.
Yeah.
I
mean, I said honorary.
Honorary, yeah.
It's white in the whites. Like,
dude, Ray probably had a heart attack tonight, dude. When Hauser threw down the alley-oop, he probably had to go in the ambulance.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it was a great game for the first 3 quarters. They were killing the Bucks. So obviously the Bucks made a run at the end of the game, but it truly looked like the Celtics were the better team, and then they just decided to stop being the better team for a little bit, right? Like that's genuinely what it was. And you have to credit Dame making a couple tough shots at the end there. That's what he does. Giannis got to the rim a couple times. He got to the hoop. Brook Lopez had a nice night. But the Celtics just really stopped trying. They stopped executing the offense. They stopped playing the, pass first ball. They were playing for the majority of the game. They had like 24, 23 assists on their first 34 shots. And then their last makes of the game, of 10 of them, like 3 were assisted. So they like stopped playing the same style of basketball that they played for the first 3 quarters, which again, they looked like far and away the better team. They were red hot from 3 because they were getting good looks. Spoiler alert from the pregame show. Bucks didn't really adjust. Still don't really guard threes. They still don't play great defense there.
They're just hanging out.
The Bucks look terrible.
Game of the season?
Yeah, definitely. Jaylen Brown finished 26 points, 2 rebounds, 8 assists, 1 turnover, 10 of 16, 3
another
of 5.
one just fucking around. Just windmill on a backdoor cut, throws in a windmill. Like, what is going on?
He was great. The only player in this game who wasn't great. Well, Tatum wasn't awesome either, but he had 11 rebounds and 4 assists. He still did stuff. Like Jrue Holiday was the only one who really struggled. He was 1 of 8, 1 of 5. But it really looked like Jrue was just out there like, I gotta kill these guys. I gotta go. I gotta do it.
He was just hard.
He was trying a little too hard.
That man you'll see it later in the show. The man was capping when he was like, I don't care.
Yeah. But you remember at the start of the season when a lot of people were saying, "Oh, the bench though, dude, the bench, they stink. Like, what are they gonna do?" 4 of 7 for Horford, 4 or 5 for Hauser, 4 or 7 for Pritchard, 11, 10, 10. Like the bench killed the Bucks. Not only were they shooting well, 4 out of the 5 starters had a negative plus minus in this game. The only one to have a positive plus minus was Kristaps Porzingis, and the rest of the bench had positive plus minuses. The Bucks, Giannis and Brook Lopez both had positive plus minuses. Dame was a +9 in the game. They lost by 2. The bench really came in and made a giant impact on this game. They deserve the majority of the credit, but this was the Jaylen Brown game. Jaylen Brown was fucking awesome in this game. He was efficient. He was passing. He was making great reads. He found Hauser on an alley-oop. He was
under
finding Kristaps. Yep, he was dishing out hockey assists. I have the hiccups. This was the Jaylen Brown show. He's the title of this video. This was his best game of the season. I wrote about his playmaking earlier in the summer, and he's been making a lot. He's been a lot better this year at passing and making the right reads. And honestly, I think Kristaps was the start of that, right? Because you look at his 2-man game with Kristaps, which was talked about a bit after this game. It's a lot of, we have built a nice chemistry. They live in the same building, so they're going on these car rides, whatever. But now it feels like it's turned into that comfortability he has with Porzingis, his ability to run the 2-man game with Porzingis and how free he feels in those spaces. Feels like it's starting to translate to his playmaking ability in general, which is huge for him, right? Because obviously having a guy who's 7'3" and can do everything Porzingis can do helps. And you see that with Jaylen's playmaking. But now I feel like he's taking that and applying it to the rest of his game, which is like, that's a game changer. I mean, we've talked about it time and time again on the show. If Jaylen can become a solid playmaker, he then like moves up a tier of player, and it feels like he's finally making that jump. He still has his moments. He still has some rough game. I mean, you look at that Charlotte game, he took some tough shots at the end, but like you can feel his decision-making improving in real time this season. Like I truly think that Kristaps 2-man game is going to work wonders for the rest of like his playmaking.
It almost feels like Jaylen's the most important player to this team. Not so much in the sense that he's the best guy, but in the sense that when he's on, they just go to another level. It just feels like when he's really thriving, the team is just unstoppable. Because when he's at his best, the range from when he is at his worst might be the greatest on the team.
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly.
And he adds so much.
Yeah, it's like, I think I said this after the Hornets game. It was the difference between Kristaps' bad game and Jaylen's bad game, because it feels like, or it felt like at the time, most of Kristaps' misses were because he just missed. Like he got a shot within the flow of the offense, he just missed. But a lot of Jaylen's misses are him trying to force it and get in a rhythm. And I think as much as he did struggle with that against the Hornets, you're seeing him pick his spots a lot better and look for passes. And like I said, I think a lot of that is he's now comfortable with Kristaps. He now knows he can make these reads. And so now it's moving from, okay, I'm going to focus on this 2-man game with Kristaps to, okay, I can make some of these reads. Like it doesn't just have to be Kristaps. I can run the floor. I can run the offense. And it's good. He was talking about it after the game. And he said, playmaking tonight, he said, just being aggressive, getting to the paint. This is a team that likes to overhelp at the rim, so it's some pretty easy reads all night long. Just like shitting on the Bucks for not being great defense down there. And he
really
was making
bad
a lot of those
defensively.
reads.
For a lot of this game, they were
Let's-
terrible. Celtics
you know
got
what,
a lot of easy stuff.
Why not? Let's watch Jaylen's assist. We can keep talking. We don't have to like discuss
All right.
each assist, but like let's watch Jaylen's
Let's go to
assist.
the
Why
review.
not?
Why
Give the
not?
man some
Mixtape.
credit. He was great. We'll throw out the mistape, but do you think this was Jaylen's best game of the season?
I think so. I just felt like he was overly impactful. He just had his fingertips all over it.
Yeah.
It was like him and Al Horford were like the two MVPs. Even though other guys
Horford
had
was
monster
awesome.
games, like obviously I opened it up talking about the white guys because I just think it's funny when they play well. But like they did a pretty good job. Like Pritchard made some good shots. He made important plays. Hauser was nails today.
Dude.
And obviously Kristaps was dunking all over him, doing
Do you
this.
see this
throwing it over
2-man
his
game?
shoulder.
Look at this 2-man game. I'll say it for audio listeners.
It was great.
Kristaps gets the ball at the top of the key, passes it behind his back to Jaylen. Jaylen drives, draws to alley-oop to Kristaps. My God. This is, you know what this is? This is two players too talented to leave. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't leave either one of these players, so you almost have to pick your poison. And this was like, yeah, this was special.
Vince McMahon is special.
Yeah, it's great. Did you see?
Jalen's the
hold
guy
on, hold
that
on.
only passes it to his best friend, like on the team.
We need a lost pup, a rescue puppy siren. Watch this. Wait for it. Watch for the smile at the end. Watch the rescue puppy smile. Wait for
He's
it.
like-
Wait for it. Watch
He's
the
like,
clip.
oh my
Look at
god,
him.
my team's winning. I don't
Look at
know what
him.
this is like.
Look at him. Look at him. Look at this guy. He's like, yeah.
One of the stars on the
So
team is
fire,
actually nice
man.
to me. I don't have to play with
So
Melo or
good.
Luca.
So good, man. Little dump off, little KP3.
KP did make a huge three at the end of this game, by the way. When the
Yeah.
Bucks cut it to 10 and then remarkably still managed to get it to 3 despite him bringing the lead to 13 with
Yeah.
3 minutes to play. Got it down to 3. Not a great close.
Yeah. No, these are some great reads by Jaylen, though.
This is a
He's
great
just
play.
working, man. He's just working so well.
Scott
'cause he's
Foster
like-
has ejected Chris Paul, by the way.
Shocker.
Yeah.
It's like he's finally realized almost that he's realized how to effectively utilize his scoring ability into playmaking. Here's Sam Hauser with the super cool dunk. Did you see Jaylen's quote about this after the game?
Yes, it was excellent. Fantastic by
Let
Jaylen.
me read it for the listeners. He said on the alley-oop, he said, I looked at him, he looked at me. That was all the confirmation I needed. We locked eyes and I said, fuck it. He looked at me like he was ready and I threw it. So shout out to Sam.
Shout out.
Jaylen was awesome. Sam was also awesome. Sam was playing great defense in this game. I wrote about his defense for Celtics Blog recently. He made a couple
Stops on
big threes.
Giannis.
Yeah,
He
big
literally
stops.
got stops on Giannis. He had a block.
He did.
Continue.
He's a good defender. Al had 11, 8, and 6. He was great. Played good defense as well. Hit his threes. Pritchard was great. Made his threes. Had a really cool bucket past Campaign, or was it Dame? No, he got past Dame. Let's pull it up just because.
Oh, he hit a
I
late
mean-
shot clock shot over Dame. It was electric.
Yeah, it was awesome. I want to pull it up just so we can experience it because it was a fun time watching him just say "see it later, Dame." I think
I'm
was this it?
admittedly
No.
kind of bummed that Dame turned up at the end because he was terrible for most of this game.
He wasn't great. He wasn't great. Yeah, Dame pulled it out at the end. Giannis also had a good game at the end. I mean, he got to the line a few times, but he wasn't great in general. I don't know, man. This was a
You know
weird
who had a
game
bad
because it
game?
felt like who
Refs. Bad ref game.
on both sides. I think the refs are bad on both
It was
sides.
just a
yeah.
shit show.
Mhm.
I mean, Brooke Lopez
It was
out there
bad.
pushing people, bro.
You saw that? You saw those plays? Yeah.
He's pushing
That
them.
was
I mean, the
bad.
Derek White one was crazy when he was under the
That was
basket. And
bad.
Derek White just happened to get the air ball. That was kind of
Mhm.
funny. But
When was that? I want to find it.
that was in the fourth quarter at some point. But there was
Do you know
another
what
play where
happened? Like what
Tatum.
play it was?
I have no idea.
Okay,
Tatum
that's fine.
was in the post, and the man hit the drop step, got undercut, and did not get a foul call.
Yeah.
And then Milwaukee goes down and gets a Mickey Mouse ticky-tack foul. And this was an important part of the game.
Yeah.
Like, the Celtics are slipping up here. There was just a lot of, like, bumps that weren't called both ways. Like, also respect to the refs because there was a lot of Dame just trying to jump into people, and they were not having it.
Yeah.
I think
Hauser
that
did a good
Jared
job
Weiss
avoiding
tweet
that. Too.
of
Mm,
Embiid just crashing into whoever it was on the Dean Wade getting bailed
yeah.
out, like, might have made its way to the NBA officials office because they were
Would be
having
pretty cool.
none of it today.
Would be pretty cool. Yeah, Brook Lopez was kind of dirty in this game. I mean, he pushed Derek White when Derek White was on the ground. He pushed Jayson Tatum when Tatum was on the ground. He pushed Derek White on another box out, I think, according to Bobby. He was like Julius Randle. He's just running all over everybody for no fucking reason. It's kind of frustrating. I want to see if I can find him pushing Derek White. Don't think it's this play. I'm just scrolling through. I can't find it. I don't know where I would. Maybe I can. Hold, please. But yeah, I mean, I saw some tweets about it, and it was like, credit Derek White for not getting mad. But it got to the point where there were a few plays in a row where you're doing it, and it's like, are the Celtics gonna like do anything about this? Like, it was egregious. Like Brook Lopez was very physical, and this isn't like me complaining. Like it affected the outcome of the game, etc. It was just like why? Like what do we like?
Well,
what's
they
the
coulda
point
got
of
a lot
doing that?
more extra possessions and free throws.
I suppose, but like it was just kind of I can't find it, but it's just weird. Like why are you pushing people when they're on the ground? It felt like there was no point to it.
Bully ball.
But yeah, I mean, so the end of this game was obviously rough for the Celtics. It felt like they slowed
Terrible.
down. They abandoned the offense that was working for them earlier in the game, and they let the Bucks go on a run. I was asking Joe Mazzulla about it, and he was like, effectively, like, we understand. We know you got to do, be better. And he's also like, it's also like really hard to stop some of these guys, and they're good players. And you do understand that to a degree, right? Like it's not easy to get stops on Dame and Giannis. And it did feel like towards the end of the game, the Bucks realized, okay, let's stop being morons. Let's just do what works. And I think that's the reason that at least me personally and a lot of other people around the league are like, okay, the Bucks got off to a rough start, but when it gets down to it, they still have Dame and Giannis, and they'll probably have a chance. And I think you saw that at the end. This isn't an excuse for the Celtics, but I do think there is a truth to the matter of like the Bucks made a lot of good plays at the end, at least defensively. Like I don't think the Celtics defense was as much the problem as much as their lack of offensive continuity was, if that makes sense. I just think a lot of it was the Bucks made some tough shots and the Celtics let their foot off the gas a little bit offensively. I don't think the effort was the problem. I think the execution was the problem. Does that make sense? I can't think of the best way to phrase it.
Well, also shout out to Tatum because he just put his head down and made a couple big drives to the hole when things were kind of reeling there at the end. But to spin back to Milwaukee, missed a lot of layups today. They missed a ton of layups in this game. Yeah.
A lot of rebounds.
Celtics kind of caught a break on that. Like, with the final score only being a 3-point win, like, all of that stuff starts to add up, and you're like, well, what if the bench for the Celtics doesn't play well? What if Milwaukee doesn't make a bunch of layups? Whatever. I guess what if doesn't matter, but it does matter down the line because you have to play Milwaukee a couple more times and probably will have to see them in the playoffs. You got to be able to handle them. And we saw that they could handle them, but you got to just finish the game. Like, this should have been a 25-point party. Like, this should have been 6 minutes ticking down, and the crowd is just letting them hear it. Instead, everybody had to sweat it out, and they literally almost lost a game that was one of the more dominant three-quarter performances I've seen from this team.
Yeah, the Celtics lost the fourth quarter 37-25 after being up by, 12, 13, 14, 15 through 3.
15.
So yeah, I mean, obviously not good, right? Like obviously not good, but at the end of the day, it was it was a wire-to-wire victory for the Celtics in this game, which is good. They
good bounce
jumped
back too, by the way.
Yes, and they jumped on the Bucks. You could tell from the start that they were all in on winning.
Everybody was hitting the glass. That's how you know. You see all the fellas like being like, "We got to get this rebound." You know they mean fucking business.
Yes, agree. Agree. I'm trying to think of. I'm still trying to find this Derek White clip while I keep talking. So this is a weird. I'm still gonna look for this Derek
Just
White
looking
thing
at
while
his
we
rebounds.
go. But who got the rebound?
Derek White. It was literally an air ball right to Derek White.
You're right. You're right. Good call. Good call. Thank you. I've been trying to figure out what stat to look for this.
Oh yeah, you're good.
But I want to look at because I want to look at it because I want to show the audience and to get confirmation that I'm not crazy because like you got pushed. Here it is. All right. I found it. Thank you for that.
Pull
I
it
did
up.
forget he got the ball afterwards. So this is the play that we were talking about. So Brook Lopez falls on Derek White. Also, first off, before we even get into the push, he intentionally fell on Derek White.
Yeah, the
Watch
man
this. He
was
could have
in
rolled
no
to the
hurry to
side.
get up.
He also could have rolled to the side here. He just lays on Derek White instead. And then watch this. Just shoves Derek White. Like, what are we doing?
Show it, Giannis. Air ball.
What the hell? Yeah. That's the
Bad.
ultimate ball don't lie moment. What I was going to ask, this is obviously not, this is going to sound like something I don't mean it to sound like. It's almost like the Celtics are too good for their own good because they jump teams. They will get up by 15 in the second quarter. And then I've listened to Joe Mazzulla talk about this. It's almost like the other team enters this survival mode where they are just doing whatever it takes to win. They're abandoning, sets. They're abandoning, their game plan. They're just like, okay, we need a bucket. We're going to do what we need to do to get a bucket. We're going to fight for every offensive rebound. We're going to go for steals. We're going to play hard. We're going to scrap. And the Celtics enter this, we just want to stay ahead mode. And I don't even think the effort's a problem at times. I just think it's the other teams playing that style and they get jumped back. And so it feels like obviously you want to keep that lead, but there is that natural instinct and that natural feeling of, just holding on. It's like the Celtics have climbed their way up this mountain. Like this is a terrible metaphor. It's going to sound so corny, but it's like the Celtics have climbed their way up this mountain, right? And they're just like hanging on the final ledge, trying to get over, but they're like taking a breath, right? Because they're like, oh, we just worked real hard. We're gonna take a breath and we're gonna do it. Meanwhile, the other team is like bare hand, like bleeding, climbing their way up, trying to stay, doing whatever they can to get back in it. And usually and in years past, the Celtics have fully let it up and they let the other person win because they were, taking a breather or whatever. This year, it feels like they've been able to finish the job more. And I think that's what happened tonight. Like they found a way and they figured it out. But I do think there is something to that. And this isn't an excuse, right? I just think it's deeper than the Celtics aren't trying. I just think it's a natural mindset that they need to work harder to overcome. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think they're not trying. I just think it's a natural thing to go up by a lot and be like, okay, we're okay. While the other team is in this complete opposite, like do whatever it takes mode. And I think that's a harder challenge to overcome. And it's not one that a lot of teams, if any, can overcome for an 82 game season every night. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Sure. I mean, Milwaukee came out of the
Sure.
half just absolutely ready to brawl. The defense was
Exactly.
far more intense. They ripped off a quick 6-0 run matched with the Celtics 6-0 run of their own to even it off. But it looked like it was going to be a rough start to the third quarter. I'm very happy with how they responded to that. And just with the fourth quarter, you have far too much talent to be dicking around, milking the clock. Just post up, guys. If you really want to be like we have a late game offense, which I'm not really sure how important that is for them, and maybe they should go away from it, but they should lean into the post ups. I think Joe taking Kristaps out to end this game was a bit of a weird move. I know he had 5 fouls. I know they didn't want him getting attacked. But, I don't know, man. That guy was excellent tonight offensively, and he's reliable from the post, and he's not an idiot. I don't know. Thought he could have fit it, but also Horford was good enough to be out there by himself. He was great.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, the lights just started going off in this room and I got scared. So we'll wrap it up here quick. Yeah, right. We'll wrap it up here quick. Last thing that I saw on Twitter, these are the top 4 in the Eastern Conference in the NBA right now. Celtics best record in the NBA, then the Timberwolves, Thunder, and Magic, which is just a fun image. And the Celtics have the Magic this Friday. So keep an eye out for that game. Any final thoughts on the Celtics game, Sam? Any final thoughts on Celtics-Bucks?
I wish they made it a complete womp so it could truly be the funniest game I've ever seen.
Mhm.
I think Grant Williams, I'm gonna make both, is still at the top, but this was hilarious for 3 quarters.
I agree. I still think it was a solid win. You would like to see them finish it off more, but at least they held on. And like you said, Tatum made a couple big plays at the end. So I'm not
also,
too
I'm off
upset.
Broad Watch,
You got to work on it,
being
but
home.
it's true. It's true.
Big
Shout
win.
out. Big win also. This is a big one, but we'll throw it over to our past selves for the rest of the show. All right. Thank you to Future Jack and Sam for that lovely review of Celtics-Bucks. Hopefully it was lovely, and hopefully it wasn't, these guys stink as they did against Charlotte. That'd be real cool if we could be back to the good vibes. But I've seen some comments saying, Jack, I appreciate your – let me take Incognito off the screen. I appreciate your what awareness of future and past selves and the metaverse, and so I've like embedded that into the topics now whenever we throw it over to
Time
certain
travel, dude. We got the multiverse going on the podcast.
for real. But before the Celtics took on the Bucks at practice, the morning of Wednesday, Jrue Holiday spoke about playing the Bucks. I missed it because for the first time in forever, the Celtics decided to open the doors to practice early, and so I showed up at 11.
Oh.
When the email said to show up, but they went at 10:45, 10:50. So I didn't hear Jrue Holiday, but luckily I got audio from a friend of the show, Bobby Kravitsky, and I think it was Suichi Terada of Mass Live who posted a nice article recapping all the quotes. So we have some of the best quotes from Jrue Holiday talking about his former team. And spoiler alert, he doesn't really give a shit. He doesn't really care that he's playing his former team. He was asked, if there's a chip on his shoulder. He said, no, I think they got what they wanted, so I can't be mad at that. Warning would have been cool. Other than that, I'm in the best place that I can to compete against them for a top team in the East. He said of his time in Milwaukee, it was a good time. I won a championship, made some friends, made some family members. It'll always have a place in my heart. So like the warning would have been cool part's a bit funny, but then he also just goes right into it. Hey, now I get to beat them. And so I think what you said stands true of that's what they all say. But if there's anybody who truly doesn't give a shit, it would be a guy like Jrue Holiday, he's just like a vet. He's just a professional. He seems like one of the more professional guys in the league. So in his mind, he's probably just like, all right, whatever, on to the next. But you have to imagine there'll be just like the smallest twinge of like, yeah, like fuck these guys. Let's get a win.
See, I feel like Jrue Holiday would not necessarily be the one to not care, at least with the circumstances. I agree with everything else. Professional, vet, like he's been around a while, like he's been traded a couple times, and he's been through it. But the man literally had an article come out the day before that was like, yo, I want to be here for my whole career. And then it was like, hey, buddy, guess what? Get ready to pack your bags. Fortunately for him, he was put into a situation where he was always going to be relocated and had the opportunity to join a very competitive team in the Celtics. So he didn't exactly get the Brogdon treatment where he was just kind of sent to the abyss, or even Marcus for that matter, who's wasting away in Memphis as of now. They could turn it around, but who knows what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Understandable from Jrue Holiday, though. But again, nobody's every once in a while you get a, hey, they fucked me, but it usually doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's rare. It's rare. Also, when asked if the media makes too big a deal of the, former players or traded players playing for their former teams, he said a lot of the time, most of the time, it's not like I circled this one on my calendar or anything. I think this is a big game because of the two teams that are playing, because of the caliber of players that are there on the court and all that. That's what I would like for it to be about when we're playing against the Bucks, which I also understand. But come on, you had to know like the first time you played the Bucks, right? Like you had to know this was coming.
What's funny is as the listeners are hearing us talk about this, like whatever his stat line is going to be has already been out into the world. Like in my head, I'm like, might have a monster Jrue Holiday game tonight.
Yeah,
I mean, that is just who knows what happened.
Would be kind of sick if he just drops 50.
It feels like it's coming. He's had a little bit of a rough stretch at times. I mean, he had the missed free throws at the end of the Charlotte game, missed the little dunk against Toronto, or Memphis rather, that almost cost them there. But he's also had some really great moments throughout this season where he's just been rock solid, and he really hasn't had a lot of times where it's been like, oh, Jrue Holiday bad, Jrue Holiday negatively impacting the team. but it does feel like he's due for a signature game. We haven't gotten a signature Holiday game yet. We had a signature start. I think against Philly, he got off to a really good start in the win.
Mm.
But it was
Yeah.
cool to see him cook those boys in Milwaukee. Or well, it's here, but
No, I know what you mean. Would be nice. Would be pretty cool. But we'll see what happens. I think there was one more quote I had written down here. Oh yeah, and it was he was asked, have other Celtics asked you about the Bucks tendencies? He said a little bit. For the most part, though, while we walk through, I'm just trying to tell them this is what I see. This is what they like to do when we're running plays. Because, again, I'm pretty comfortable with how guys like to move and what they do. A little bit of questions, but more so just me going out there. I would be more intrigued, and it's not exactly the same because he didn't play with him, but Jrue Holiday has defended Damian Lillard extremely, notably well throughout his career, highlighted by a 4-game sweep of the Blazers in the playoffs, I think in 2018, where the Pelicans just stomped them and Dame did nothing. And so that's almost what I'm more intrigued to see. I care less about Jrue Holiday versus the Bucks. I care more about Jrue Holiday versus Damian Lillard. And yeah, Sam just sent me a nice little message in our chat. We did forget to say happy Thanksgiving because I did forget tomorrow. I forgot tomorrow was Thanksgiving.
I was literally thinking, I was looking at the show sheet. I was like, oh, I wonder if we should do a Thanksgiving food power rankings or something stupid at the end.
We didn't say anything.
And then we didn't even mention it was Thanksgiving. So we're thankful for the viewers. We're very thankful for all of you. And yes, in your Thanksgiving, I hope we get to be a part of it. I hope you listen today. I mean, if you're hearing this, you're listening, but
Yeah, I'll put a. Have you seen Editing Jack? Have you ever seen that? I put it in sometimes. I don't know.
Yeah,
if you've seen
I
it.
love Editing Jack.
I'll put Editing Jack.
You use the same picture every single time, right? You have a default Editing Jack, and you just look kind of out of it.
Yeah, I'm sitting there like this, like an idiot. No, yeah, I'll put an Editing Jack in here saying we say it at 9 minutes in or however long in it is when the timestamp is. But yeah, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. That can be part of our rat list. We'll rat list Thanksgiving stuff, and we'll talk about
literally so stupid. We've said it before, dumbest of the dumb.
Oh man. Moving swiftly on, we'll talk about Thanksgiving later. A great article, might I add, from Tim Bontemps of The Athletic that detailed the players-only meeting.
ESPN.
That was, what did I say?
The Athletic.
Sorry, Tim Bontemps of ESPN. I do
respect it, though. The Athletic generally does have better content than ESPN.
But Tim Bontemps did do a great job on this piece. Shout out to him. He detailed the players-only meeting, or the players meeting. I don't want to say players only meeting because that makes it sound like they're the Bulls, but the meeting that the Celtics top 6 guys and Joe Mazzulla had to start the season that sort of whittled down to what would be the starting lineup. And it kind of depicts how great of a leader Tatum is in the way he brought them together. I picked out some of the best quotes. There's still more quotes in it than this. So go read it if you haven't yet. It's just if you look up Celtics, player meeting, whatever, you'll find it on Google. It's ESPN. Yeah. Come on. But Tatum said of the meeting that they had, I wanted us to get in the room and talk about it. We're all human and have feelings. I opened the floor and basically said there's 6 of us. Only 5 can play at one time. One of us is not going to finish the game all the time. Whether it's fair or not, me and JB are probably going to always start and always finish the game, but we have to be held to a different standard and be able to be coached differently. Whether it's KP and Al, one of you guys may not finish the game and you have to be okay with that. And I think Keith put out a good tweet about this. I pull from Keith Smith NBA all the time because I follow him, and so I see his tweets.
Simply does know ball. Friend Keith of the show,
knows ball. So he tweeted out for all of the Celtics fans, who say Tatum doesn't lead well enough. This is a great depiction of what he says when he means I don't lead like KG, but I lead in my own way. This is it. Yeah. This is what he means. And so shout out to Tatum. Good. And Porzingis talked about, he said, honestly, I think that was a very important moment for us just to kind of look each other in the eye and know we're all here for one job, to understand what we're all going to be, that we're all going to be willing to make some sacrifices. And so, yeah, I mean, there's more that we'll talk about too, but we'll pause there for a sec. Cause good for Tatum. I think we talked about this when it first initially came out, the rumblings came out that they had this type of meeting. Derek White joked, he said, my vote was for Tatum to come off the bench. But this is a good, some good insight into what went down before the season. And I think a good reflection of how much this group is all in on winning above everything else.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. It's definitely a pivotal moment in the season. knock on wood, if they win a title this season, this will be part of the documentary. People will talk about this. They'll be like, before the season, like we had so much talent, had to go in there and figure out who's going to have what role, how everyone's going to get along, how everyone's going to mesh together, who's going to be on the floor at the end of the games, all of the things that we've discussed so far. And the important thing is how receptive everyone was to it. Like Horford ended up being the guy that has, I guess, taken the bullet and had to come off the bench and been less involved than normal, which I think at the end of the day is kind of low-key good just for longevity because he doesn't have to eat up extra minutes. And he's really on a if he has it basis versus having to be out there like a Tatum, like a Brown, and being a key part of the rotation. I think it says a lot about the top six. Like you said, their commitment to winning. Porzingis is just happy to be here, dude. You could tell him he's coming off the bench. He'd be like, all right, cool. Yep, that's fine. As long as I don't have to lose games and tank. Jrue Holiday definitely comes in with a chip on his shoulder. I'm not backing down off that, despite him being like, I don't really care. He obviously wants to win. He joined the Celtics in the offseason, team with high aspirations. He wants to be able to contribute to that. And Derek White, the shapeshifter, the man. Maybe do we need to give him a nickname? Do we which villain? Jesus, which shape-shifting villain should we nickname him after? Should he be the Chameleon or should he be Clayface? Now, I don't know if you could tell me which superhero either of those guys is associated with.
Oh wait, that's a good game. Hold on, let me guess. Is Chameleon? He's not Batman. I've heard of Clayface.
Okay.
Is Clayface Batman?
Clayface is a Batman villain.
Okay.
And Chameleon is a Spider-Man villain.
They're
essentially the same guy. Their like ability is that they can disguise themselves as whoever they need to be.
See, I was
finish
a
their
huge Justice League guy as a kid. Like I had the remember those portable DVD players you could bring in the car?
Yeah.
Whenever we went to my grandma's house, I brought what is it? Just the original Justice League? It was like the cartoon.
Yeah,
where it was like
cartoon.
Yeah. We're not cartoon, but like the animated Justice League, like
it's a cartoon.
Yeah, sure, whatever. But like that, I had those DVDs and I would watch them like over and over and over again. The one where it'd be like their dome, like the villain's dome, like rose up from the swamp and shit, and they were in there talking.
The Hall of Evil.
Yeah. Whatever it was.
That's
what I watched as a kid. So I feel like that's maybe where I recognize some of those names from. But yeah,
you know what's wild is that when we were kids, Jesus,
what happened?
I've never said that before in my life. When we were kids,
yikes!
My God,
you're old.
That we would have that though, like when we went away, we would only have certain episodes of things that we could watch.
Yeah.
Like I watched like the same 2 Jimmy Neutron episodes on my PSP if I was away from the house.
Yeah.
Or SpongeBob.
I remember the show Good Luck Charlie. I don't know if you can hear me, but
I can hear you.
They were like the first show to like release stuff on Apple. So their like premiere like first ever like pilot episode was released on Apple for like $5. And I remember getting on my iPod Touch. I like downloaded it. I'm like, oh, this is the first episode. I watched it like this.
It's
like
a
an
cool
idiot.
thing.
But yeah, now everything's just out there. Okay.
Which
anyways,
name do we want to give him? You have more pull than me. You just drop it.
I like the Chameleon better.
I like the Chameleon better.
Clayface sounds too. If somebody doesn't get the reference, it
kind of
sounds
mean.
Yeah, and I don't think that fits Derek White's though. I like the Chameleon. I'll back it.
Maybe a Celtics blog article. Maybe I'll do it. I owe literally every site.
We need to get back on the
Yeah, we do.
How about them Celtics newsletter?
It'll happen.
So maybe that'll be the thing. But yeah, I agree. I mean, it's great to hear them talk about that. And Jrue Holiday was a big part of that sacrifice. Al Horford said, "I've just been really impressed by Holiday's commitment to the team, what we're trying to do. You can already tell he's a no excuse type of guy. It's a lot when he's had to go through and relocation and get used to a new environment. And we're asking a lot out of him." Porzingis said, "I came out of that meeting and my respect for him grew. I told him right away his demeanor in that meeting. He said it and he meant it. And we all knew that he meant it because this is Holiday offering to come off the bench. And being an NBA champion and just having all that experience and just coming into a new team, one of the biggest rivals and being like that, it set the standard for everybody else. So to hear Holiday, a guy like that, like make that offer, and Joe Mazzulla ultimately decided it was going to be Horford instead of Holiday, which we talked about, I think was for the best. for all parties involved because, spoiler alert, Celtics starting 5, Derek White, Jrue Holiday, the Jays, and Porzingis has been fucking gross. Like when it's been on the court, like it's been very good. I think just the offer alone, like the sentiment, like it's almost when like, remember when we were talking about the other day, it was like, oh, I'll always pay on the first date, but the offer is nice to hear. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Gesture. There's a whole Curve episode about the empty gesture.
That said,
takes Larry up on it, and it's horrible for Larry.
Well, that's what I said. I think this was more than an empty gesture from Holiday. Like, I think he truly would have been okay coming off the bench, which is like, that's a big deal to hear from a guy like Jrue Holiday, which is, again, good vibes to start the season.
It is definitely very good vibes. And I'll tell you what is, we were talking about Porzingis and how effective the lineup has been with him, White, Holiday, and the Jays. Guy at the coffee shop today talking to me loves Porzingis.
Mm-hmm.
To the guy's credit, like Porzingis has been probably the best version of Porzingis we've ever seen.
Tingus Pingus, baby. Yes, sir.
But the guy, he was pumped about Porzingis. He was like, that guy stays healthy, watch out.
I agree.
I agree. Get up on, so he knows all about this.
Last couple quotes we'll pick up on from the article. Go read it. Tim Bontemps, ESPN. Tatum said, this was a time where if you're not okay with it, let's talk about it. I didn't want everybody to, before the season started, say, yeah, I'm fine with it, whatever. And then we'll lose a couple games and then things build up. It offered us a time to all be on the same page and express that we're okay. It was a great meeting. Porzingis said, I think we want to be the team that we envision ourselves to be. I think that was a key moment for us just to start off the season with the right mindset and right responsibility to each other. And so as much as before the season, we talked about, what's the starting lineup going to be? Are they going to be upset? Like, it does really feel like these guys we are on the same page. We're good, whatever happens. And so. All right. Well, the next thing we have is something, it's definitely too early in the season to talk about it, but on this show, we are presented with content and we talk about content. And so that's what we're damn going to do.
Them's the rules.
Them's are the rules. Zach Buckley of Bleacher Report, honestly, a friend of the program at this point, which how much we used his content this summer. Shout out Zach Buckley.
Respect.
Came up with an article, 3 trade targets for the Celtics to consider before rumor mill picks up. So we're going to go over them all. But before we do that, the question I ask you is, do the Celtics need to make a trade this season?
Don't know yet. Too soon to tell.
My stance is every problem I could potentially envision them having outside of, the knock on wood injury or stuff that you can't predict can be solved with a guy that's, deeper in the roster. We saw Peyton Pritchard can step up and be a scorer when he needs to be. I know they lost that game, but it wasn't his fault. He did everything he could. He played a great game. I think Luke Cornett's actually been really solid in his minutes. He's setting good screens. He's getting offensive rebounds. He's playing solid defense. Nimish Keita didn't show you much, but the talent is there from what you saw in the preseason. O'Shea Brissett's been very impactful in his minutes. Sam Hauser is stepping up. I just wrote about him for Celtics-Bucks today and his defense. Like, any problem that I think the Celtics could have can be solved by somebody deeper on their bench. The only thing I might say, okay, maybe you go out and look for this, is either a third string center or a third string guard. But I think the issue is nobody you trade for is going to be guaranteed minutes. And so you can't risk ruining the vibes for somebody that's not going to play minutes. That's my thing.
I agree. I think that's a good take. It's tough to shake things up with a trade. Personally, you know me, Jack. I hate a trade. I really do. I'm very hesitant to ever be like, yes, they should make a trade. In the summer, I was in hell because that's all we really had. But I mean, these guys on the list from Buckley are not overly impressive.
Let's get into them then.
Yeah.
Let's get into
them.
So first one, Precious Achiuwa, Raptors. Now, Sam, the Celtics have played the Raptors twice in the past couple weeks.
They sure have.
Precious Achiuwa has not done much for me.
He has not. He definitely has not.
The one thing I know Precious Achiuwa for is that he is one of the most inefficient big men in the NBA.
Oh, no, Jack.
He's better this year. He's shooting 45% from the field, 23% from deep, which it's still not good. But 2 years ago, he was shooting under 44% from the field, and he doesn't shoot well from the free throw line either. And so what is it? Effective? No, not effective goal percentage. Why am I being stupid right now? His true shooting percentage this year is 50.1. For context, who's a guard? Who's an inefficient guard? Trae Young. His is probably worse right now, but 50.1 for Precious Achiuwa. Trae Young is at true shooting 56.3. So he is shooting 50% worse true shooting than Trae Young.
Oh boy.
And a lot of that is Trae Young's a good free throw shooter, but still like not very efficient for a big man.
I did not realize they included free throw percentage in that.
True shooting, yeah, it's everything.
That's good.
True shooting is a measure of shooting efficiency that accounts for 2-point field goals, 3-point field goals, and free throws. Yeah.
How many threes a game does Precious Achiuwa take?
You want to guess?
I think he takes 3.
1.9 actually. That's not as bad as I thought. Okay, that's more acceptable.
And he shoots what from 3?
23.5%.
Probably should be taking 0 threes a game.
No, well, my thing is he shot 36%
What's
his first year there, 31.6. He shot 36% his first year in Toronto. And so they know he has the ability, to make threes. And so if you know that, you still got to shoot the open ones. And so he's taken about 2 a game for the past 3 seasons, which is like fine. 2 out of your 7 shots or threes, like fine. He doesn't move me. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just meh. Like he's just I'm not in on Precious.
Is he better than Luke Cornett?
Probably, but not for the Celtics, if that makes sense. When you factor in Luke knowing the system, so
sense. Luke Cornett has chemistry with these guys. This year, like you said already, he has played pretty well. Like everyone was hating on the man coming in the year. Nemi was the shiny new object. Obviously, he had the foot problem, so he was out for the first 10 games. Made his season debut. He was like fine, like he was whatever, fine to below average. Cornett has had some very impactful moments this year. He had a couple big baskets against Philly in the win. He's been a good screen setter, like you mentioned. He just works with these guys. If you want me to be honest, if you want me to pinpoint a change that I would like to see within Boston's big man rotation, not necessarily with the rotation, but I'd like to see them try and unlock Cornett a bit and have him shoot a 3 once in a while. He can do it.
That's what I'm saying.
His Celtics debut against OKC was a monster game where he had a big second half. He made a couple threes.
Yes. I agree with you.
He can do it. I don't know. They have everybody else do it. Why can't he do it?
Sam?
I think he's good around the basket, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that, listen, play to the strengths. He's pretty good at finishing around the cup. But also, why not? Why not have him sit in the corner once in a while? Especially if it's a garbage time blowout. What is Cornett shooting on attempts? Like, what are his 3-point attempts as a Celtic? Entire
total?
Yeah. Like average per game. I should
per game
basketball reference.
Per game as a Celtic. No, I got you. I'm strapped with it. Per game as a Celtic, he averages 0.5 a game. In total, through his entirety of his time with the Celtics, he has attempted 53 threes and he shot 12 of 53. So not very good, but he's also not looking for them as much. But I agree, he can shoot threes. I'm not saying take a bunch, but like if you're open, take them.
Cornett spent 2 seasons with the Knicks, first 2 NBA seasons.
Yeah.
In 2017-18, he shot just under 1.5 per game, made 35%. Next year, he shoots 1.5 per game. Oh, I'm sorry. My mistake. My bad. He shot 4 a game in his first season, 4.2 in the second season. First season, 35.4%. Second season, 36.3%. Since then, percentage has declined. Make no mistake. But he can do it. He can make these shots. There's no reason a team like the Celtics that is so 3-point centric, they have made it such a big part of their identity, which whether you think it's a problem, don't think it's a problem, it's a fact. That's what they do. They shoot threes. They could probably make the most of the Cornett minutes by allowing him to at least have some freedom with that. Your spacing would be better. Why not? I know you said I'm spitting, so you're not going to really have much to argue, but
No, I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. I don't think he should necessarily be taking like a million threes, but I think splice the floor. Let him cook a little bit. I'm in on Cornette. We're high on Cornette podcast. I agree. The next guy is a big man, Andre Drummond, a guy we've talked about before.
greatest rebounder of all time.
This is true. I will say also about Precious Achiuwa, because it also applies to Andre Drummond. Both fit into the TPE, so they could potentially be low risk guys. It doesn't matter anyways. If you get them for free, both are in the final years of their respective contracts. So it wouldn't be like you're giving up a ton for a guy who might not be here. You're giving up a couple seconds at most for two guys that maybe play, maybe don't. So I'd be in on either of them for that price. That said, if I had to pick, I'd lean Achiuwa over Drummond just because I feel like he's a bit more athletic, a bit more switchable on defense. For as bad as he is on offense, he's also going to be asked to do a lot less and asked to do things in a much more defined role in the Celtics. I wouldn't hate Drummond. He's just kind of a traffic cone. And I don't think the Celtics want that on defense. Like, I think Lou Cornette is a better perimeter defender than Andre Drummond, to put it that way. And he's not a great perimeter defender. So I wouldn't hate Andre Drummond, but I would rather Precious Achiuwa to the point where I'd rather give up 2 seconds for Achiuwa than 1 second for Drummond. And I know seconds don't matter, blah, blah, blah. But like, I'm just saying I would rather I'd rather give up a little bit more and get Achiuwa than give up like next to nothing to get Drummond. That's my point.
Yeah. I think it was you that told me that Drummond is like actually a good locker room presence, despite all these teams he's been a part of being dog shit. So
I don't remember that. Maybe I did say it. I say a lot of things. I don't know. You're going to catch me out. I believe it. Like, I mean, he is a vet and he does seem like a nice enough person. And I remember a speech he had where he was like, listen, I know as much as anybody. I went from a max guy wanting max money to on a minimum, like right away. Like, you got to take what you can get. You got to fight for what you get in the NBA. So like, I do think he is like a well-respected player at the very least. And like he gets along with people at this point, ever. But I don't know. Last guy on Zach Buckley's list, DeLon Wright in the ugliest jersey in NBA history on the Washington Wizards.
So bad.
This is the problem with this idea, because if they all fit into the TPE, DeLon Wright would be my favorite. You bring him in, he can play if you need some defense. Does not fit into the TPE though. He makes $8.1 million, meaning you would have to trade either like 4 of your minimum salary guys, i.e. Lamar Stevens, Steve McKay, Delano Banton, and like OJ Brissett, or trade for a guy into the TPE, wait 60 days, then match it, or include Peyton Pritchard. At that point, I don't think getting DeLon Wright for any of those combinations is worth it. So I like DeLon Wright, but not for what it would take to get him.
Not having the best season. I think that might be because he's being asked to almost exclusively
He's hurt right now.
Threes.
I believe. He's also hurt right now, I believe.
Percentages are bad.
No, yeah. He's also out on November 11th, 4 to 6 weeks with an MCL sprain. So he is inactive right now anyways. But
speedy recovery.
Also
maybe not. Maybe you don't want to play with Jordan Poole. Whatever you would prefer DeLon Wright, I hope it's the best for you.
Also, the last trade thing, not Zach Buckley, but I know you put it on here and I did see it too. Bill Simmons and Kevin O'Connor talked about Alex Caruso. I also haven't listened to it yet, but I did know they brought it up. And I'm going to say what we've said a million times when we brought him up.
I would love hard.
Yeah, would love Alex Caruso. Would be would just be very difficult to figure out a way to trade for him. Unfortunately. But I would like Alex Caruso. All right, let's check in with our emails here and see what people have to say. I believe we only have 2 today, so a light day for the emails, but we can check in regardless and see what shocker our boy RJ has to say. All right. Let's pop in time for a glass half full take. This is one day ago, 1 p.m. Excuse me, on the Celtics off day. Morning, gents. I am happy to win the wheel of popcorn, and we'll give you and them a report on how we like the product when it arrives. Perfect. I just shot you another email, RJ. So if you haven't seen it yet, check your email. We need some information, blah, blah, blah. By the way, this got long, and I made it into a fan post on Celtics blog. I did plug both your writing on the pod. Legend.
Hey, thanks.
The Charlotte game sucked extra hard for Celtics basketball nerds like us because it hit all the 2023 PTSD triggers. I won't list them because that would suck. I'm going to follow my own advice about achieving greatness and not do the things that suck. Let's look at mitigating factors and upsides from the game without trying to be a Pollyanna-ish about it. Do I know this word? Am I stupid? Anyways. Mitigating factors, two big ones. The obvious one is that the C's were, quote, down to only 4 All-NBA guys in their starting lineup and none off their bench. No White, no Horford. No Horford does impact the team. The less obvious factor was the Celtics' fourth road game in 6 days, coupled with janky itinerary. Philly to Memphis to Toronto to Charlotte aren't long distances, but it's not a New York to Brooklyn to DC to Philly jaunt. Positives, Peyton Pritchard was taking and making his shot. He was hustling on defense and rebounding and trying to get other people involved. He was being a good teammate like he has all year, and finally the basketball gods rewarded him with points to go along with other stats. Sheet stuffers. Wow. Another positive, Coach Mazzulla using more of his bench guys for extended stretches. At the start of the fourth quarter, the lineup was Hauser, Pritchard, Cornette, Brissett, Mikhailu. I'm pretty sure, this is me, interjecting to RJ here. I'm pretty sure Mazzulla benched the starters because they weren't playing with effort, which is like good for Mazzulla because they were kind of shit. Back to RJ. For the 5 minutes they played together, they outscored the Hornets 10-8 and were almost even in rebounding, 5-6, and even on offensive rebounds. The Bus One boys and new Bus boys showed they can hoop during real game situations. More good news, but it may take a moment to see it. Tatum, Brown, Holiday, and Porzingis all wanted the ball. All of them know they can be the man. All of them have been the man that times of seasons, and they had the winners mentality of, I know I can get this done for my team all the way through the game. What they need to embrace, just like the 2008 team needed to figure out, is how to translate that away from hero ball into playing the beautiful game. That's why, even though it was an ugly possession in many ways, the final shot in regulation had a seed of hope because JT passed an open Hauser. I cannot recall the last time Tatum dished off rather than forcing an attempted game winner. For all the analytics that get thrown around, basketball is still played by human beings with human reactions. Whether it's one star being asked to blend in with other stars, bench players being asked to play at the level of a starter, or stars learning how to view bench players as peers and not the supporting cast, those adjustments all come with an emotional component that has to be addressed honestly and respectfully by the coaches, the players, the media, and even us fans. Be well, RJ. Can I just say, I had to cough that whole time, so I'm very proud that I didn't give you guys what that was like a big one for me. But yeah, thank you, RJ. Sam, thoughts on the positives he mentioned?
I think a lot of them are very valid. I was impressed with the bench's play to start the fourth quarter in Charlotte. I was almost certain that they had sealed the game. I was so certain that I placed a $5 bet on the Celtics to lose, and I made $100. So that says how much I really have faith in them. I agree with the 2023 PTSD. I do think there's extreme value in all of those guys having confidence enough to take the final shot and be the guy with the ball. I think your best bets for reliability or I don't even know what the right word is. Just the confidence I have in them is Tatum and Porzingis because they're more under control. I don't really want to see Brown having to try and create a shot. He hasn't proven to be overly comfortable with the ball still. Just might not ever be part of his game. Holiday hasn't been a massive scorer for Boston either, but I do respect him as a veteran, and we've seen him make big plays before. He had a winner against the Celtics in Game 3 in 2022, I want to say, or at least he made the shot to seal the game for Milwaukee, something like that. It was a drive down the lane shot, and good job by him, even though it hurt at the time. But yes, great. I just want to see more low post play down the stretch. It worked. Worked back against, who was it? Am I tripping? Toronto when they ran the back-to-back post-ups?
I don't remember exactly.
One of those games.
I remember they went to the post and Tatum went to the post at the end of the Grizzlies game, got a shot, and that was like the possession before the Jrue Holiday missed dunk. So that's what I'm thinking of. I believe they probably did in the Raptors game as well. They've done it a lot at the end of games this year. Porzingis has done it. He did it against, maybe it was Toronto. I know what you're talking about. Yes, continue. Sorry. I understand.
But anyways, I've said it before. That's just the most controlled, slowed down way that they can draw extra defenders to create openings for the rest of the team. You saw Tatum getting 3 guys looking at him at times throughout the course of this road trip when he would post up. If you're late in the game, take that. Talking about the Hauser open 3 at the end of the game, he got a double posting up at the 3-point line, Tatum, and Hauser wound up getting a decent look. Just do that lower because your options will be better. You can take a fadeaway over 2 guys on the low block. I trust Tatum to do that, but it also makes it so much harder on the defense. Keep rolling with that. It works. It's the difference between this year's team and last year's team. They've actually won close games, even if they've been bad enough to be in a close game. I saw somebody on Reddit talk about that. Somebody posted like Celtics' overtime record the last 2 seasons is like 4-10 or something like that. And someone made a pretty good point where it was like the Celtics are only going to overtime in games that they are not bodying teams in. Meaning for the Celtics to be in a dogfight, usually it means they're not playing very well.
Yeah.
Because the Celtics are just better than a lot of these teams, right?
Yeah.
And maybe that's part of the reason why a lot of us do get uneasy when the game's close, because you just know they're not in a great position because they haven't played well.
Yeah, I agree. All right, I think we have one more email from RJ. Again, comment what's popping on the video to get some popcorn. RJ with a Thanksgiving email. What's popping? Turkey Day gratitude. Excuse me. Afternoon, fellas. Time to give Matt the Rat a day off, steal an idea from Celtics Lab, and do a quick Celtics-related take on Celtics-related things I'm grateful for as we slide into Festival of Food. I was on that Celtics Lab episode, so I'll
you know what's funny is I had this urge inside of me to be like, I actually want to list everything I hate about the Celtics.
Suppress it. Suppress it. Since I'm a longtime fan of Agate teams and Summer League stars, Agate type items and Summer League stars, my list might be a little off the beaten path. We like it. 1. Matt Reynolds, the Celtics' own Green Lantern, has been indispensable in helping the team challenge calls wisely, an extra helping of stuffing to the master of the video tablet. Jrue Carter, following a Celtics legend, is never easy, but Jrue has slid into the lead broadcaster seat with graciousness, good humor, and a real excitement for the game and the franchise. Bad puns and great nicknames I still love. Preseason P are icing in what already is a flavorful cake. I hope he still sticks around for a while. Jrue, your choice of cranberry sauce, canned or homemade. Nemish Keita. Nemi has played all of one regular season game for the Celtics, but he is getting Portuguese basketball fans excited. Excuse me, and he seems like an genuinely nice person. How about some Paste de Bacalhau? RJ, you set me up for failure there, bro. Salt cod fritters for a taste of home. The staffers at Basketball Reference and SpotTrack.com. Shout outs Keith Smith, friend of the pod.
Yeah.
If you love stats, transactions, and contract data, these are the sites for you. Going all the way back in NBA history, if the data is available, they pretty much compiled it in a tidy, consistent format. Great references to use before shooting one's mouth off on the internet. A tall beverage of your choice for these fine folks. The original Bus One boys, Sam, Luke, and Peyton, have each endured additional scrutiny from the fan base as they step into larger roles with the team, and they have all delivered. They have also shown a willingness and ability to work with their successors, Lamar, Delano, Svi, and O'Shea, to help them develop their games and contribute to the Celtics ethos. Y'all get to go first in line on the dessert table. Pete Rogers, yes. The great thing about Celtics winning as much as they do is we get to see more of Pete's stunning and inspired design work on his alternate Boston basketball jerseys, unlike certain Victory Goddess shoe companies. Pete never phones it in. A drumstick for Pete, which he will incorporate into his neck design, most likely. And then lastly, the HBTC community. Any creative endeavor can have the joy choked out of it by its own fandom. The lovely wackos who tune into the podcast and contribute comments are clever, compassionate, and just plain fun to discuss Celtics basketball with. For all of y'all, here's to several cases of whipped cream. Go crazy. We appreciate you. Finally, I have to say, I don't want to read something.
I'll read it. I'll read it.
Okay. Go ahead.
Finally, I have to say a special thank you to Sam and Jack for all the effort and good humor you put into HBTC. There are lots of outlets that will tell me about trade rumors or plus-minus breakdowns. You two share stories about Duke, do calorie counting as a quiz show, as well as laugh and groan about our favorite NBA franchise. Y'all are nuts to do this, but it's the right kind of nuts. I hope it continues to be fun for you and for a long time to come. Thank you, RJ. We very much appreciate it. We appreciate everyone that listens to the show. Jack and I do have a blast doing it. We don't really get sick of each other, and it's a ton of fun because, I mean, people say it like they can tell like we get along, like we are good friends. So it's really a lot of fun to do a show with Jack and be a part of it.
I'm thankful for you too, Sam. I appreciate you. I get uncomfortable reading like compliments about myself. So thanks for
I got you.
That for
you
me.
Need comment. Listen, you want to talk about compliments? I mean, I kind of nailed the read. I felt like I was back on the news for a second, reading the teleprompter.
Speaking of the news, RJ closed with "Happy Turkey Day, everyone," and to paraphrase the classic line from WKRP in Cincinnati, "As God is my witness, I thought Sam Hauser could fly." Do you know that line? I only know it because RJ commented. The original line is "As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly." He's just like being an idiot on the news.
Anytime I hear As God is my witness, I just think of Jim Ross saying that man is broken in half, like when Mick Foley gets thrown off the cell.
Yeah, electric. But thank you, RJ. We appreciate you as always with the email, and we can move swiftly into our NBA section of the pod. Once we get big enough, I feel like those email sections might just have to be their own videos. We might just have to rip them off as how about them Celtics mailbags? It would be kind of sick.
I feel like we should call it something else though, because everyone says mailbag.
I know, but the issue is then people look like they see mailbag and they know immediately what it is. So as we can get
community chat roundtable. Well, we'll brainstorm. You got ideas for us? You let us know, or maybe just we call it a "What's Poppin" video.
It's true. Let's check in with the in-season tournament standings. I know the Pacers were the first team ever to clinch a spot in the quarterfinals.
Hell yeah.
Lakers were close to follow them. Pistons, Wizards, Jazz, Blazers, Grizzlies, Spurs, all eliminated.
Yep.
Celtics would clinch a berth in the next round of the in-season tournament with a win on Friday against the Magic. But yeah, Pacers are in. Bucks and Celtics both 2-0. Heat also 2-0. Are they in the Bucks group? I believe they are.
They are in Milwaukee's group, and those two teams play each other in the final group stage game. So massive popcorn game, fire. We have reached the point where I think the in-season tournament is starting to become fun. It's officially fun. Like I'm looking around. I mean, listen, I had the league pass open on Saturday last week.
Yeah.
Fire. Or Friday. It was fire.
Yeah.
Technically, it was Saturday for me because it was so late. But I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in. You're going to have meaningful games early in the season. This is Adam Silver's vision. Despite him being a war criminal, it works. These games are fun. You saw the Sixers game yesterday. The crowd was into it. Pat Bev hits a go-ahead shot in regulation. Then, of course, Garland knocks down a pair of free throws, and Philly loses in overtime. But people care, man. People care. Just get rid of courts. Get rid of the jerseys. Also, shout out to Worldwide Wob, who does every single day. He does a league pass slate. He gives a rating for all the games, and then as an attachment to that, he rates the best jersey matchup of the day. So not only has Worldwide Wob defended the wall, deducted 3 points every single time a team wears white on the road, which is horrible. Never should happen. And I mean, there's just always so many different options where you just don't have to resort to that because, you know, they only have a zillion jerseys. But he has also now implemented a minus 3 point deduction for the score if a team wears the City Edition jersey.
Yeah. Respect. Respect. Did he put his out today? Jersey
I haven't
matchup.
looked yet.
Jersey matchup of the day today. Suns City Edition versus Blazers traditional home whites. This was this was yesterday. Yeah, I don't see it today then. But anyways, does he do the worst matchup of the day or does he always do
he does the best.
Damn, if that's the best, it was a 1.4.
He's the GOAT. Worldwide Wob is the online NBA GOAT.
Yeah, he's a beast. Shout out to him. Let's see. What's next? I think that covers in-season tournament.
Jack.
We're getting there.
Vegas is close. We're getting there. We're gonna start caring about these Celtics game. If they get to the quarterfinals, that quarterfinals game is to be very important for the two of us because we have tickets to the Eastern Conference semifinal for the in-season tournament. The question is, Celtics going to be there or not?
Would be pretty cool if they're there. But let's check in with the rest of the NBA standings, see what's going on around the league now. Rockets are back on the downturn. They've lost 3 in a row. Warriors. Yeah, the Warriors just picked it up. They've won their last game, but before that, they were in a losing streak. They're sub 500 right now. It's a weird game there. Thunder have won 5 in a row. They've shot up to 3rd in the West. They're 10-4 on the season. Them and the T-Wolves have been two of the biggest surprises this year. The Nuggets are obviously up there as well. The Kings just lost, but they're 8-5, still playing pretty well. Lakers and Suns have won 3 and 4 in a row, respectively. And then down at the bottom, Spurs and Blazers on 9 and 8 game losing streaks, respectively. Not very good in either of those places. Although I think Scoot's coming back for the Blazers soon, but not good.
I saw Scoot to the G League to rehab.
Yeah, I think he's getting healthy again, so he's rebooting there. But not very good out west. Some weird, funky stuff going on. Chat at the Thunder.
12 in a row. Did you say Pistons 12 in a row?
I haven't gotten to the East yet. Pistons have lost 12 in a row. Not good. Wizards lost 6 in a row. But nobody else in the East is really struggling mightily. Hawks have lost 3, Nets 2, but outside of that, it's a lot of middling stuff. Bucks have won 5 in a row. Magic have won 4 in a row. The Magic are on a ridiculous surge right now, and they're just clamping up. Is what's happening in Orlando, which is, respect. They
I will
are.
say this.
Yes.
It's exciting to see the teams that are ready to take the leap actually starting to take the leap. Like Orlando, Indiana, and OKC in particular are all teams going into the season. I think at least the two of us were like, hey, might actually be good. The Thunder was a very popular one. We can't be like, it's always kind of Orlando. We can't be like, hey, we're the only ones that knew about this. But I feel like we were both kind of on the Halliburton Pacers last year.
Yeah.
And then he got hurt and they fell off and everyone kind of forgot about them. But they're here and they're already on to the quarterfinals in that in-season tournament. So they're kind of for real. Knicks.
And then Knicks. Shout out to the Magic and the Thunder as well, because they're 4-0 in their last 4 games, and they're doing it with defense. Over the last 4 games, Magic defensive rating 102.2, Thunder 99.5 defensive rating last 4 games. They're clamping up. Shout out to them. Which players are playing well over the last 5 games? Because I mean, we're doing recent stuff here. We record, close enough in proximity to where it matters. Last 5 games, player stats. Sorry, I need to switch over here. I just got a Slack message and it completely threw me off because it took my eyes elsewhere.
Happens. Getting Slack messages, getting emails.
Threw me off. Last 5 games, Kevin Durant is killing it, 33 points, shooting ridiculously efficient. LaMelo Ball also on fire, as Celtics fans know. Any other guys that pop out as having great stretches here that wouldn't usually be there? Alperen Şengün is averaging 25, 9, and 5 over the last 5 games, but they're losing. So that's not too great. Bam is playing well. DeJounte Murray's having a heater of a season. Good for him. Duncan Robinson's averaging 22 points over the last 5 games, shooting 58% from 3, and the Heat are 4-1. So he is back.
That's some crazy efficient shooting from Duncan Robinson. That's Grant Williams bubble playoffs-esque.
Yeah. What have you been noticing, Sam? Anything you want to talk about while I respond to this message?
Bulls bad. Bulls very, very bad. They need to blow it up. And I know we're going to get into that. Very sad to see my Pistons struggling. I couldn't have seen this coming. It felt like they were due for a little bit of a bounce this season, at least to be respectable. But man, oh man, 2-13. It's very painful to see. It was a little encouraging. They were 2-3. They were 2-3. Oh, I'm sorry. No. They were 2-1.
Yeah, the Pistons got off to an okay start. They just fucking shit themselves. Not great. But yeah, I'm checking everything else. I think that covers around everything I wanted to talk about. Brief segment just before we get into the last things. If you had to pick one, the guy that's going to be like on the cusp of the All-Star, like Tyrese Maxey, I think will be an All-Star this year.
Agreed.
Sam's All-Star of the season. It doesn't have to be an All-Star player. The guy you are like this season, the guy you're
I'm
like, this
pulling
is cool.
for him.
Yeah, like, and it doesn't even have to be they'll make the All-Star team. It can be like fucking, pulling a random name out of my ass. Like Santi Aldama killed the Celtics. Like, yeah, fucking, he's great. You know what I'm saying? Like, it can be a role player. It can be anything. Like, who's a guy you're like, yeah, this is sick. I like this guy.
I'm a fan of Şengün.
Okay. Yeah, respect.
I think he's a good pick because I think he's someone that might actually get like respect for the All-Star game. I don't know if he'll get in, but everyone will be like, what about him? You have to, he'll get the honorable mention, or that guy has to be in the conversation, which is the stupidest thing ever. I hate the in the conversation. Are you really in the conversation if someone has to like shoehorn you in that way? Yeah. That's like the equivalent of being a fun team. Other guys, I mean, I'm a big fan of Halliburton, obviously.
You know what?
Just going.
You know who? Rudy Gobert could be an All-Star this year. Like, genuinely, he is playing so fucking well. He is averaging this season 12 points, 12 rebounds, 2.2 blocks. But like his what's it called? His defensive field goal percentage, like what players are shooting against him. Let me find it here, just because it is like what the fuck? It's that level of good. Against Rudy Gobert, players are shooting 42.5%. And he's like a center. So like that's fucking crazy. And for what it's worth, another guy in the conversation, Jrue Holiday, players are shooting sub 40% against him. Nuts.
I saw that. Great stat from Jrue. Excellent work.
Crazy.
Another guy I'm pulling for. Obviously, this is like whatever, but I'd like to see Murray get the All-Star nod and the All-NBA nod so we can get paid in Denver. He's out right now. He's hurt, which actually could cost him some money. Kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But I'm pulling for him, and I'm pulling for OKC too. I think
Yeah.
it's time for them to return to being decent.
Last guy, and it's on your team, Asar Thompson. Dude, that guy's fucking
Good start
nuts.
for him.
He's a 6. What is he? How tall is Asar Thompson?
6'7"?
He is 6'7". He's 6'6". You know he's averaging this season?
No, I don't.
11.3 points, 10.1 rebounds, and 3.2 assists, 1.1 steals, 1.7 blocks. That's fucking insane.
That's a guy. I think it's kind of sad that he's in Detroit, even though I'm like pulling for them because they've been bad for too long. Because if he, let's say it would never happen just because of the way the draft was this year and how high he went. But if he was drafted in a situation, let's just use Tatum as an example as a rookie. Thompson could contribute to a competitive team with the versatility of his game.
Only problem, can't shoot. He is, what is his total? He is shooting currently 4 for 29 on the season.
Oh boy.
13%.
Well, Grant was 0 of 25, and they.
This is true. 13.8. All right, let's move on to our last little tidbits of NBA news. Zach LaVine trade unlikely right now. This is per Darnell Mayberry, of The Athletic. Most don't expect the Bulls to make a trade until at least mid-December after contracts that were signed this summer can be traded. A more realistic target is the February 9th trade deadline. It often takes additional time to construct a trade for high contract players. And Arturas Karnisovas, the executive vice president of basketball operations, their effective GM, has demonstrated numerous times that he's patient in making a deal. Sam Vecchini, I believe that's how you say it, apologies if it's not, of The Athletic, in a separate article added, while his shooting accuracy could bounce back, several league sources who spoke on the condition of anonymity convey that the feeling that LaVine's game does not translate well to winning situations. So that's a little tidbit for Sam in there.
I think that was what I sent to you on Twitter. It was from the Dunk Central now because they had to change it because people were like impersonating them. But I saw the quote about LaVine not being a waiting player, and I just tweeted the Thanos gif of him sitting there all satisfied because it's true. And I went online, I was on Reddit today. I think it was the Knicks subreddit. It came up in my feed, and Knicks fans were like, "Why is LaVine consistently tied to the Knicks? Like he's a losing player. We don't want him." Like they would rather have Cat, who's also like low key a losing player, but the Timberwolves are good, so like they're not going to get him up. I don't know, man. It sucks for you that the Bulls are just sitting there and not doing anything. Like if you're the Bulls, I feel like you have to decide early if you're going to suck. Like I don't know what exactly they're hanging on to. They're what 5-10 on the season? Yeah, 5-10. They are 3 games better than the league worst Detroit Pistons.
Yeah.
Pack it in, dog. Call it a season. DeRozan, LaVine, and Vucevic are just not going to get you there.
Very bad.
Get something.
Very, very bad.
Especially right now, you could probably sell some teams on hope. Like, let's look at the standings. I can't tell you off the top of my head what these teams can offer. That would be like, okay, money works. This is a respectable offer. But you're telling me right now in the Western Conference with how competitive and tight things are, you couldn't sell Utah on some extra help? You couldn't sell the Pelicans on a shakeup?
I think it's just tough because, like, those specific ones, like Utah, do they really need to push right now? Like, are they really in for that? The Pelicans, like, you'd have to really shake it up.
Should tank for what it's worth because they have
exactly
pick.
So it has to be the perfect situation, and in that, what they should have done is fucking blown it up this offseason when teams are more flexible and can do things. Like that's what they really should have done, but they did not. So whatever. Last thing before the rat list. Paul George said that vibes are high for the LA Clippers because they've won a couple games after losing like 6 in a row. Paul George, I think this was on his podcast, said vibes was definitely high. You get one win and now the expectation has changed. The energy has changed. That attitude going into games has changed. We were getting better and now we finally get over the hump. So now we know what that feels like. Russ coming off the bench has obviously changed things a little bit as well. But the Clippers are now, what is their record of the season?
5-7.
Excuse me. 5-7 on the season. They've won 2 in a row. So they were 3-7. On the upswing. Now, as much as it is fun to mock the Clippers, like realistically, at least in my opinion, this team is too talented to completely flop. Like, they have too much talent. They have too many good players. I don't think they will be a complete bust. I don't think they'll win the title. I don't know if they'll win a playoff series. They should win a playoff series, but like, in my opinion, this team was never going to miss the playoffs. Like, that was never the floor.
Okay, fair. They're 11th right now, 10 teams above them. That's how math works. Of those 10 teams, Golden State, probably better. Pelicans, maybe not better than them. Rockets, probably going to fall behind the Clippers by the end of the season. Phoenix, probably better than the Clippers. Lakers, I don't know how I
50-50,
refuse to say they're better. Are the Kings better than the Clippers, in your opinion?
I think so.
I do. Yeah. I agree. Dallas is definitely better. OKC's better. Denver's better. And Minnesota's better. So there's really only room for them to leapfrog 2 or 3 teams, which is enough.
My thing is, I think the Kings, Mavericks, Thunder, and Timberwolves are better, but any of them I could see going through a rough patch or going through an injury, and then the Clippers being able to kind of surge. Like, the only teams that I think are far and away clearly better, going to finish above the Clippers, are the Suns, the Nuggets, and that's really it. Like, I could see them hopping all the way up to 3 if some teams go through things.
I mean, listen,
listen,
only 4.5 games behind third at this point in the season. It's very tough.
I don't think they will. I think the Clippers will end up in that 7-8 range, having to win a play-in game. However, I don't think it's completely crazy that their ceiling could be 3. I personally think all the teams we said are better. I'm just saying I don't think it's like out of this world to say they could get as high as 3.
No, I see your point. And again, West, very tight. And the Thunder could definitely go through a rough patch. I think Dallas is maybe, like, just looking at the standings, probably a top 4 team. Like, I think they should be tremendous offseason. Derek Lively has been a great surprise for them, but with Kyrie on a team, there's always a possibility that things go sideways. So, very fair point by you.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Vibes are high though, according to Paul George. So, we'll see how high those vibes stay for the rest of the season, and we can jump right into the rat list here and give you the end of what should be a nice long show. As Sam continues to come back from his internet, I'll just say happy Thanksgiving once again. Thank you all for tuning in to Bout Them Celtics regularly. We very much appreciate you. And once I'm going to keep filibustering here just because I think it's funny. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see Sam's faces for us. Welcome back, Sam. How we doing? We've moved on to the rat list since then, and we'll just go with an honor.
Why is the background not rat list?
It is
for me. It's not. Okay,
it is.
Right. I'm not gonna fuck with it.
Here, wait. Let me do double back. Is it ratless now?
Now it is.
Back? There we go. But I'll start the rat list today. People.
I love this.
How do I phrase this? When it rains, people forget how to drive.
Facts.
That is the rat list. It was making me angry. So I was going to the Celtics practice this morning, which I ended up missing. So I was, had to drive back after like 10 minutes, which was annoying as well. But I didn't have to pay for parking. So anti-rat list, it didn't charge me, which is good. But driving there, we're just going like 60 on the highway. Why? And not even like 60, like in the middle and right lane, like making a wall, going 60 in the left. I'm sorry. Your car's a little wet. Don't be an asshole. Go. It's like at the very least, get in the middle lane so people who want to drive fast can drive fast. And this applies to like at all times anyways. But when it is wet outside, when it is raining, people just decide, it's scary. Water's scary. I'm just gonna go 20 miles below speed. Like, fuck off. Move. Get out of the way. Like, oh my God.
Now,
you don't have to go 50 miles. And I understand you want to be careful, but like there's a difference between careful and obnoxious.
No, you're absolutely right. All right, question. When you were out there, was it like a monsoon like it was here? Because where I was today, downpouring, gusty winds, I ran this morning and
it was like
running in a certain direction. My eyes were essentially closed.
It was like full wipers, yeah. So I had like full wipers, full level on.
There does become a point on the highway where I feel like it is dangerous when it's raining because you can't see. It's less about the actual conditions. It's literally about visibility.
I agree with you. And there were points where I had to I couldn't see a car in front of me for a little bit and I had to wait till I got close enough, not close enough to the point where I was like slamming on the brakes, but it took me longer than it normally would to see them. But again, I throw in, get the fuck out of the left lane if you're going 50 then. If you are not comfortable driving that fast, fuck off. Get out of my way. Because I'm more than comfortable going, even if it's just 70 rather than 75 or however fast I normally go. because I can still see well enough, and because I understand, how to drive like a human. So like come on, get out of the way. And the worst part is when it turned into a drizzle on the way back, it was still wet, but people were treating it like it was still a monsoon. At that point, like, stay home. Like, what are we doing? So that was frustrating me mightily today because it just it didn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense. It was pissing me off. Got me mad.
Some coworkers and I bonded over the don't be driving the speed limit in the left lane.
Yeah, it's bad.
And
Bad look.
Probably half-hour long chat about driving. And I was like, I had to like kind of like monitor myself because sometimes like you start talking about traffic laws and you might get to get a little bit too excited. You start feeling like a little bit of a dictator. You're like, maybe we should only do this. Maybe everyone should have a tank, whatever. By the way, did you know that there's a Family Guy where Peter buys a tank? I did not know that. Someone put me onto that yesterday. I told the
Oh
tank.
no, where he like takes a tank in the road and like gets people out of the way.
Yeah, he runs Joe
I
over.
didn't know that. Oh, that does sound familiar now that you say it, but I wouldn't have remembered like if you hadn't told me.
He's like trying to buy a mega car, and then he's like, "Wait a minute, tell me about this," and it's just a tank.
Yeah, that's kind of fire.
So, rat list first and foremost is me. Unfortunately, I have to hold myself accountable.
Uh-oh.
I feel like I cost the Celtics on Monday. I came home from Ireland. When I was in Ireland, they were undefeated. I come home, they lose. This is a big game for me tonight. And as you're listening to this, if I'm really on the hot seat or not. I could have been redeemed, but so far, returns have not been very good for me being back in the States.
Yeah, it's tech. It's bad for you.
Cost us viewership.
Get ready to learn Gaelic, buddy. See you later.
You know how I feel about that.
What else do I got? That was really the big thing for me today. That it made me angry. My dog peed in the house after I tried to let her out. And she didn't go outside. Yeah, I came home and I opened the door and she didn't go outside. And then I came in here to work for like 30 minutes and she peed in the house. It's a rat. Like, what are we doing here?
Oh,
asshole.
No. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have much. Oh,
I'm ready to go. But
yeah, hit it. I was gonna say we could do our Thanksgiving stuff too as well.
Let's wrap the rat list so we can finish with that.
Okay, go ahead. I don't have any more else. I don't think. If I think of something, I'll let you know. But
so, rat list of the United States. Now this kind of ties in with me being back, but
sure.
I was over across the pond there in Ireland, and at many of the establishments, coffee shop, fast food place, wherever, you pay with the card. They don't ask you to tip. No tip machines.
Yeah.
No tip screens.
They pay people.
No, hey, it's going to ask you a question in Ireland.
Yeah.
Respect. I came back here today. I was reintroduced to the tip screen. I was like, oh my God, they're living so much better than us over there. They don't have this perpetual guilt when they go to buy a coffee. Even though I do tip at my local coffee shop because I go there every day and I have a rapport with those people.
Sure.
But never forget the Starbucks drive-thru where they hold it out the window at you like you're some kind of fucking animal. And they're like, give me the extra $1.
Well, I think it's because they pay. I guess it doesn't apply at Starbucks, but they just don't tip over there in general. Like they pay waitresses like normal salary instead.
You're supposed to tip 10%.
In Ireland?
Yes.
Oh.
In most of Europe, you are correct. The gratuity is included.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But it was my understanding you tip 10%.
Sure.
And then, I ride the plane all day. I ate like absolute dog shit over the weekend. It was terrible. I was like, oh my God, I'm getting fat. But anyways, I fly home. Did I tell you I watched the Chucky movie on the plane? The Child's Play with the doll,
No.
Chucky?
No, you didn't tell me that.
That is one of the funniest films I've ever seen in my life. That fucking Chucky doll running around, scrambling around, killing people is so fucking funny. The way he runs, he just across the screen. Anyways, so the woman in the movie figures out like Chucky's bad, the mom of the kid that the Chucky doll belongs to, and she like tries to throw him in the fireplace. And she picks him up and he's like, You fucking stupid bitch, put me down. He just starts berating the woman. It was the greatest thing ever. I'm sitting on the plane laughing. But anyways, after my lovely flight, which had tons of movies on it, my mom and I are riding the employee, because my mom's a flight attendant. We're riding the bus back to the employee parking lot. We're on the bus, and this guy on the bus has his phone on. Now, Jack, you have voice displeasure in the past with those who are in public settings and have their volume on the phone. You know what
headphones.
the worst use of your volume could probably ever be? Like it goes this and then probably watching porn in public.
This is worse than that.
Yeah.
Okay.
The man had the fucking alarm sounds playing on his phone. Like the sound that is my alarm when I wake up in the morning. I don't know. It might have been his text message tone. But I shouldn't have to hear that sound ever unless it's my alarm, because it like sets something off in your brain where you want to be upset. You're upset because it's an upsetting part of your day. It's terrible.
Yeah.
So ratless to that guy. I literally almost said something after the third one, but I was like, I'm not gonna.
Oh wow, this was multi-time. That's brutal.
Yeah, like I had a long day.
That's a tough one. That is a tough one. Yeah. I agree. Sorry, I thought I had something else, but again, I just don't. Do you want to go to Thanksgiving stuff, or do you have more?
Yeah, I got nothing.
Okay, how do you want to approach this? What do we want to talk about?
Favorite Thanksgiving food?
Stuffing. Big stuffing guy.
I've never.
I love stuffing.
Never tried.
What the fuck is wrong with you? What?
I was picky as a kid and like never really got into it.
It's fucking bread and butter, like that. Like just that's all it is with like other shit in it.
Now I can't afford to eat that. I just told you I thought I was getting fat.
You're a piece of shit. It's Thanksgiving. Eat food.
No, I'll eat food.
You try stuffing. What is wrong with you?
Everybody screws around with the stuffing. There's really like no concrete recipe for stuffing. Everyone likes to get creative. I don't know if I'm for it.
Whatever. Loser. What's yours?
So
what the fuck is happening?
I like ham. I like ham better than turkey. I don't dislike turkey, and I actually prefer a turkey sandwich to a ham sandwich. But cooked in the oven, I get more of a kick out of ham. I think it's more fun. I just like it better. I like the taste better. But I don't dislike turkey. This is more of a enjoyment of the ham.
I agree on its own, but I would rather have turkey with gravy than ham.
Not a gravy guy.
Do you like anything? Do you like anything? Are you like? Do you have any sense of happiness in your life? You don't like Christmas. You like? Oh, I like Thanksgiving, but I don't know about stuffing and gravy.
Like donuts. I ripped 3 Krispy Kremes back to back on Sunday. Like it was nothing. And I felt bad. I still feel
gravy.
bad.
Why how do you not like gravy?
I don't know. Just I just don't like like this. This goes back to me being like a picky kid. Like I never liked it. Like I don't like the way it looks. It's one of those things. Like I just like learned to live without it, and I just don't need it.
I'm trying to think what else. Do you like? I don't even like cranberry sauce. Is kind of mid. I won't hate you if you dislike that. It's like
I don't really care for it. It's okay, but like I'm not
cornbread.
Cornbread fire. Yeah, cornbread.
Love cornbread. I
shout out.
Why do I
respect?
Agree. Why do I have a feeling you don't like pie?
Pie's okay.
Okay.
Here's the thing about pie. If I'm gonna have a dessert, I would rather have cookies, brownies, cake, ice cream, donuts. Like I could list off endless things I'd rather have over pie.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you.
Okay. Which do you prefer, pumpkin or apple pie?
Neither. Like they're both fine. I like pecan pie.
Like? Pecan.
Pecan pie is good.
Pie is actually pretty good.
Chocolate cream pie is also good. I don't dislike either apple or pumpkin. I would probably prefer pumpkin pie. But like they're pretty much on par for me. Like I like them both, and I think they both have good. My issue is like I agree that pie is probably the worst of most desserts, but it's just like it's Thanksgiving.
It's part of the holiday.
You have pie. Exactly. It's Thanksgiving, you have pie. That's kind of what it is.
I've never understood that. Like, don't you think like wouldn't you just rather have like what you want to eat? Like I had my Friendsgiving earlier this month because I went away to Ireland, so they accommodated me. Shout out to the fellas, and it was an excellent time. No pie at Friendsgiving. There was cookies, fire. I made them. Don't worry about it. There was Rice Krispie treat brownie things that also had marshmallows and it was peanut butter flavor, fire. Then there were cheesecake bites. All of it was great. Didn't need pie. Everyone had a tremendous time.
I don't know what the origin of pie at Thanksgiving is. I assume it has some sort of historical significance that I don't really care
Like,
about.
I contend we should all have wings at Thanksgiving.
Would be sick. I will say, again, I listen to Front Office Show, so I rip Keith Smith. The post-Thanksgiving Day sandwiches where you throw like some bread, some turkey, some gravy, some stuffing. That's the shit. That's it for me.
So I was listening to Pardon My Take today, and they did like a Thanksgiving Q&A or whatever. I think they did emails or whatever.
Sure.
And somebody asked them about that, and Big Cat was like, everyone tries to act like they're on the next wave, saying that they like leftovers on Thanksgiving.
That's not
Welcome to the club, brother.
I literally said I'm copying someone else. I didn't act like I'm on anything.
No, I know.
But you throw that shit in the air fryer, though? Yeah,
Air fryer's the biggest W.
Air fryer's the goat. I think that's all I got, though. Any other
I never
Thanksgiving
grew up
things?
with mac and cheese on Thanksgiving, but I do like mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese good when it's there. Mashed potatoes good, but like it's potatoes. Like they're just good regardless.
Potatoes just kind of don't miss.
So my aunt makes sweet potato casserole with like some like brown sugar on top. Yeah, it's very good. Big
Sweet
fan of
potato
that.
casserole, a fine part of Spider-Man 1. It's essentially centered at Thanksgiving. Do you know what I'm about to talk about? Or are you about to change the subject?
I was just gonna say I'm also weird and I like Brussels sprouts, but
I like broccoli.
Broccoli good. Broccoli best vegetable.
Big Thanksgiving scene in Spider-Man 1. Shout out. Peter so Spider-Man and the Green Goblin have just had a run-in with each other. Spider-Man gets a cut on his forearm. And as part of Thanksgiving, Peter, his friend Harry, his friend's dad Norman, Mary Jane, and Aunt May are all having Thanksgiving together. Norman is the Green Goblin, if you don't know, Jack.
Sure.
And Norman tries to eat the casserole early, and Aunt May slaps his hand away, puts him in his place. But also, this is how he finds out Peter's Spider-Man, because he has the cut.
Does he not bleed or something? Like,
no, he bleeds.
Then how does he find out? Does he bleed a different color or like?
He has a cut on his forearm, the same place Spider-Man had a cut.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant he like
gave him the cut.
When you said that, I thought it was like inferring that he got cut at dinner and like he bleed like he.
Oh no! Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So I wasn't. I don't know.
Well, Norman is asked to cut the turkey and do the honors, and then he gets his hand slapped away. Great scene, great movie, great franchise. You know,
Sam's in. All right, we can wrap it there. I've got to head out, go to the Celtics game. I know Sam has somewhere to be as well. So thank y'all for tuning in. We appreciate you very much. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Once again, I ask you to leave a review on Apple. I would appreciate it. And let us know your favorite. Yeah, let us know your favorite Thanksgiving dish in the comments. That can be the comment. Say what's popping and then drop your favorite Thanksgiving dish. Again, check out the channel more often. We're gonna be dropping multiple videos a day. Probably not tomorrow because it's Thanksgiving, but in the future, watch out for more double uploads. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. Subscribe to How About Them Celtics, and I'll let Sam take it out.
Hey, thank you very much for listening and watching today. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell. Leave a comment. Tell us about your favorite Thanksgiving dish. Tell us what you do that's unique on Thanksgiving. We'd love to hear about it. You can also leave a like. We appreciate that. You can follow us on Apple and Spotify. All the full-length pods will be there, as well as any game recaps. I think next week you'll get some off-day games. It's been a while since a game has not coincided with a pod. But the Bulls game on Tuesday will certainly be one. So will Sunday's game against Atlanta. So be on the lookout for that. You can follow us there. Leave a 5-star review like Jack said. Find us on socials at How About Them C's, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Facebook page is just the name of the podcast. We're live there as well as YouTube before every single game, 30 minutes before, doing the pregame show. You can find Jack on Twitter at JacksMoneyBay. You can find me at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.
Taco. Come on.
Taco.